How do you containerize your garbage? Do you use a bag or a box? If you use either of those, then good job, because loose garbage contributes to littering, which soon after may reach into the gullies, rivers and drains. And we all know the environmental and climate change hazards associated with that. Between the pages today, we highlight solid waste management. This is Jamaica Magazine, and I am Adrian Atkinson. The show begins now.
My name is Emile Leiber. I'm the president of the Jamaican Bar Association. We are grateful for all the investment which has taken place in our technological infrastructure. In order to fully appreciate the benefits of the technological improvements, I think one has to have an appreciation of how things were before. So if you're an attorney at law who was situated in, for example, Montego Bay, and you had a matter in the Supreme Court, it could be a chambers hearing, could have been for a few minutes. You would drive from Montego Bay, come to Kingston, sit in the judge's chambers for perhaps 15 minutes, half an hour, and then drive back to Montego Bay. So you will see there very readily that 4 hours of productive time easily, and that's assuming you drove enthusiastically, would have been lost, if not more. Without the benefit of the technological improvements. So we now truly have a system of justice which is accessible to practitioners throughout Jamaica as well as the individual litigants.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, July 20. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin is reporting a 2.6% growth in the goods-producing sector for the January to March 2021 quarter.
This was mainly attributable to higher output levels in construction of 10.5% and mining and quarrying of 7.1%.
Statin's Director General Carol Coy was speaking during the agency's digital quarterly briefing recently. Ms. Coy says COVID-19 and the measures used to curtail the spread continue to negatively impact the island's economy. There has been a 2% decline in the agriculture, forestry and fishing sector, while the manufacturing sector saw a 1.1% dip in output.
The decline in agriculture was due in part to dry conditions in some of the major producing areas, coupled with the aftermath of the damages sustained to agricultural lands due to the heavy rainfall which occurred in the fourth quarter of 2020.
Except for producers of government services, all other subsectors in the services industry experienced contraction. They include hotels and restaurants, transport, storage and communication, wholesale and retail trade, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment. Jamaica and Kenya have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to collaborate on research and development in tourism destination preparedness, management and recovery. The first such partnership between both governments was signed on Friday by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and his Kenyan counterpart in Nairobi. The Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, located at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, will spearhead the implementation of the project. Minister Bartlett lauded the joint venture between the UWI-based facility and the Kenyatta University to collaborate in forecasting, mitigating and managing risks related to tourism resilience caused by various disruptive factors. He says the MOU is particularly relevant as leaders navigate and respond to the challenges brought on by the ongoing pandemic. Mr. Bartlett is in Kenya for the Tourism Recovery Summit for African Ministers of Tourism, where he was invited to speak on tourism resilience and recovery. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says more time will be spent on improving the systems and processes of the Constituency Development Fund, the CDF. Mr. Holness asserts that steps have been taken to ensure that the fund meets all the public accountability standards.
We have ensured that the last review of the CDF was a good review, and we intend to do further reforms and improvements of the CDF. It doesn't mean that you will get benefits any quicker. even though we are attempting to ensure that that is done. But we would be able to guarantee that the resources that are allocated are efficiently spent.
Mr. Holness made the comments on Friday as he handed over a 3-bedroom social housing unit to Donnet Henry of Farm Pen in St. Mary. Ms. Henry's children also received tablets from the Prime Minister's Positive Jamaica Foundation. Mr. Holness says the government is looking to adjust the social housing program to include improvement grants where it's possible.
We will try to work out a proper balance depending on the type of constituency as to whether or not we can shift some of the allocation away from the actual building of a unit and supporting some of the grants for social housing improvement. It's something that we have to look at very carefully because we don't want to detract from this program and the transformational impact that it is having.
And still on social housing, a vulnerable Westmoreland family of 6 is to receive a house through the Ministry of Local Government. The mother is an amputee and one of the daughters has been diagnosed with a rare disease that prevents her from walking. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie visited the family last week.
I'm committed and I've asked the mayor to ensure that we expedite the construction of a 2-bedroom unit. I've asked him to, when the necessary plans that the ministry will do has been submitted, that he walk it through to ensure that you have no challenge, because people should never live in this condition.
In the meantime, Minister McKenzie says the Westmoreland Poor Relief Department will continue to take care of the family, which is also on the program of advancement through health and education path. The local government ministry is now looking for a new property to relocate the Trelawney Infirmary. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie says the current location is prone to disasters such as flooding. In the meantime, the Hague Primary and Infant School has been identified as the temporary holding space for the infirmary if the need arises.
Trelawney is one of those parishes where your infirmary, based on its location, will have to be relocated if we are impacted by any major system. And I am more than pleased with the arrangements that have been put in place to facilitate the relocation of the infirmary if it becomes necessary.
Mr. McKenzie was speaking at the recent monthly meeting of the Trelawney Municipal Corporation. And finally, Transport Minister Robert Montague says immediate measures are being implemented to get operators of public passenger vehicles to use the Linstead Transport Centre. Minister Montague says there will be greater collaboration among the police, the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation and the Transport Authority to get the operators to comply.
We are also going to be having permanent presence of the Transport Authority officers based at this transport center, permanently. They will also be working with a special team from the police and from the municipal authorities.
Minister Montague was speaking with reporters after a meeting with stakeholders at the facility last week. He says a register to record the usage by operators will be instituted at all transport centers. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency NLA can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Coming up, the latest happenings at the office of the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister opens remodeled Mount Salem Police Station, hands over houses in St. James and St. Mary, and commits to keeping Jamaica on its growth trajectory. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vaughn Davis. At the top of the work week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness shared Jamaica's plans to maintain its growth trajectory with Good Day New York on Fox 5. He pointed to Jamaica resolving the fiscal management of its economic affairs. According to the Prime Minister, Jamaica's economic affairs are in good order, having successfully completed several IMF programs that have entrenched fiscal stability and prudence.
We are creating the environment, regulatory and otherwise, to become a country that is growing significantly in this region. We are also tackling other institutional and development issues, such as strengthening our bureaucracy to deal with things such as corruption, but at the same time to become more efficient. We are also investing heavily, and I'm very proud of this, in our security, our national security, both in terms of our defense force and our police. And we are improving our policing capabilities, and that has been a challenge for many years.
Prime Minister Holness also revealed that the government will be rolling out some transformational policies for the education sector in the coming months.
I have a duty to the safety of the population. If it is that your behavior threatens the safety of the population, then I will have to act. I need not say any further on this matter.
Minister Andrew Holness has asserted that he will act decisively if the COVID-19 infection and hospital rates continue to increase. The Ministry of Health recently reported a slight uptick in both areas. Mr. Holness says based on surveillance activities carried out at gathering locations such as parties, nightclubs and restaurants, persons have been observed flouting the COVID-19 protocols.
I'm saying to every single Jamaican, you will decide how this pandemic ends. If you wear your mask, if you maintain the physical distance, if you are wise about your movements and gatherings, and if you decide to take the vaccines when it is your time, the pandemic will end soon and well.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has reiterated his administration's commitment to tackling crime and violence. He says this transformation is being done through increased investments in the security forces and security infrastructure while changing the mindset of the people.
But I'm confident that with the investments we are making, the strategies that we have put in place, that we will transform Jamaica from a place where we are 47 per 100,000 homicide down to where we are below our regional average. This is a task that I remained absolutely committed to.
Mr. Holness made the pledge at Wednesday's opening of the remodeled state-of-the-art Mount Salem Police Station in St. James. The $47.6 million project was made possible by the European Union and the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. The police station upgrade is part of a wider program to uplift the community, which was the first zone of special operations declared on the island. And while in St. James, the Prime Minister delivered a 3-bedroom house to Quarry resident Marva Mason. The mother of 4 is the latest recipient of a dwelling under the National Social Housing Program. Mr. Holness says plans are afoot to double the $500 million set aside for the initiative in the upcoming financial year. 380 units are expected to be issued to needy Jamaicans in this calendar year.
There is no question that by adding this structure to the community, that the entire community is uplifted. The entire community is uplifted. And more than that, it gives hope.
The Prime Minister hopped over to Farm Pen St. Mary Friday to deliver a 3-bedroom social housing unit to Dawnette Henry. Ms. Henry's children also received tablets from Mr. Holness's Positive Jamaica Foundation. The Prime Minister says he's contemplating ways to get more vulnerable persons into fit and proper shelters.
We will try to work out a proper balance depending on the type of constituency as to whether or not we can shift some of the allocation away from the actual building of a unit and supporting some of the grants for social housing improvement. It's something that we have to look at very carefully because we don't want to detract from this program and the transformational impact that it is having.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently received the Reimagine Education Report, outlining recommendations for the transformation of the education system. The report was compiled by the National Secondary School Students' Council (NSCC). 580 high school students and 516 youth from various levels participated in a poll which contributed to the report. Students expressed their desire for more equitable and inclusive classrooms, enthusiastic and empathetic teachers, expanded curriculum content, and engaging lessons, particularly given the impact of COVID-19. It's expected that the recommendations will assist the work of the National Education Transformation Commission, headed by Professor Orlando Patterson. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, has launched a new initiative to minimize improper disposal of garbage. The agency is distributing plastic bags to businesses and transport operators. Let's see how the program is working.
With our best effort, the National Solid Waste Management alone cannot clean up Jamaica, cannot clean up Maypen. We have to get the buy-in of the residents. What is Bag It Up? Bag It Up is simply saying to you, take responsibility for the solid waste that you generate. As small as an ice cement bag, paper, as small as a Wrigley's wrap, don't throw it out through the car window. Don't drop it at your foot. Put it in a bag, pack it up, bag it up, so that we can come and take it. We want to encourage containerization in the very minimum. We don't want you to believe that it's only when you have a lot of garbage that you must take responsibility for it. We want you to take responsibility for just that little biscuit paper, even the little biscuit paper, the little thing that wrap up the little bun that you eat, the little patty bag. We want everything to be properly containerized.
SPM Waste Management, a regional company of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, launched the community-based project Bag It. It seeks to address issues associated with littering in the town of Maypen-Carrington. Research shows that vendors and passengers in public transportation vehicles are among the main contributors to littering in the parish's capital. The Bag It campaign wants to change behaviors associated with improper solid waste management and implement effective measures for containerization.
Maypen Town Centres is one of those heavily populated town centres. So we decided that Maypen Town Centre is one of those areas that we should start by sending the message. We want residents to understand that with garbage not being properly containerized, right, it will contribute to the flooding of the garbage in the town. We have our sanitation crew who start to clean the town centres from as early as 4 a.m. each morning. But when you move through the town centres, like around 9, 10 a.m., it's like the town hasn't been swept. Bag It is one initiative that we are partnering with the Maypen Parish Council. We are partnering with the vendors, we are partnering with the taxi owners and operators, and we are partnering also with some of the businesses in the town centres. Now, we have made some bumper stickers to put on some of the taxi, and we will be asking some of these taxi owners and operators to help us to spread the message, to encourage passengers who traverse in their taxi on a daily basis not to throw the garbage through the window. As small as a box, you know, bag juice, whatever it is, it helps to contribute to flooding. So we want residents to desist from dumping.
None of my passenger patrol, no
garbage for out of my car. Because we have a bag, see there?
Any passenger eating in my car and throw things through my window, I throw them out of the car at the same time. I must leave it in the car, and at the end of the day I took it out, chuck it in the bin.
Now, if persons want to eat in the car, and instead of them throwing the garbage outside the window, they can put it in the car, in the bag. As it relates to the vendors, we have made some bibs, and we'll be giving those bibs to some of the vendors in the market as much as possible. Now, with the bibs, what will happen is that they will wear the bibs, and the bibs will bear the sign, bag it, and also do the right thing. Now, we are asking the vendors in Maple Town Centre to talk to some of their customers who come in on a weekly and a daily basis. Listen, look here, just stop throwing the garbage all over the market, because guess what? When the garbage clog up the drains, it helps the market to flood out.
It's a good purpose that we should put our garbage in and don't litter the place and keep our surroundings clean.
It is good for bagging it, because if you bag it, you just take it up and put it there and the truck come and pick it up.
I got the garbage bag and I'm going to put the garbage in it, that I don't have to litter the place.
Heel up. Big up the plastic then. Yo, don't mess the place here, keep it real.
Across the country, you have different audiences, so we have to target various groups to help us spread the message. So the vendors will help us, the taxi owners, operators will help us, right? The people who own the supermarkets, restaurant, etc., we want them to help us as well.
Right across Jamaica, we have the challenge where some people believe that they must just throw things out. They must just discard items at will. We want to inculcate in the minds of people from very early that we are responsible for the solid waste that we generate.
While the country grapples with COVID-19, government has partnered with the private sector to establish wash stations at public facilities across the country. We look at how that collaboration unfolded.
$3.5 million, an investment to encourage Jamaicans to keep washing their hands. Through this public-private sector partnership, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has received 100 hand wash stations. The stations have been strategically installed to ensure the most vulnerable, primarily the elderly, can benefit and be protected against the coronavirus.
We're going to be placing one at all infirmaries across Jamaica. Will have one of these stations.
State-owned Golden Age homes are also recipients of the hand-washing stations. So too are town centers and municipal buildings across the country. The installation of the stations is in support of the government's COVID-19 response to safeguard those within the public domain. As everyone would have known by now, the World Health Organization stipulates that hand washing is an effective tool to prevent the virus and other diseases. And so, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development partnered with telecommunications giant Digicel to outfit these locations with the hand wash stations. Parish municipal corporations will have oversight for these stations within town centers and at the councils, while the Board of Supervision monitors those at the homes and infirmaries.
It is important that the public recognize the importance of it. We have a population of over 1,500 residents, and God has been good. Only 3 deaths so far across the country.
The donation of these hand washing stations are critical in the fight against the COVID-19 disease because, as you know, hand washing and sanitizing and practicing proper hand hygiene is a key element and key component in preventing and containing the spread of the disease, which is critical for our infirmaries at this time.
It's very important that the private sector cooperates and work alongside with the government, both central and local government, to effect change and to effect transformation and to reach out and to show a caring society.
This is precisely the kind of public-private partnership that we need, especially during this time as we confront the COVID-19 pandemic together. So when it is the Minister ODPEM reached out to us to say, let's get on board with providing more of these hand washing stations right across the country so that people can have ready access to just doing the basic thing of washing their hands.
It has been a collective response as we, as a country, unite to preserve and to maintain those in our country who are in need of state support.
You've reached the final page of the magazine. Thanks so much for being with us on today's journey. Another Jamaica Magazine unfolds tomorrow, so come back same time on this same station. Until then, go to our website, YouTube channel and social media pages for more informative features. While there, you can subscribe to our pages and channels so you can stay in the know. I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to follow the COVID-19 protocols.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.